Abusia Galamsey about back in the news heavily.
Now, this water, as you can see, is also thick brown, the main source of water for this community.
There are some parts where Ghana and Suokura Omunyebi.
And she had the hay, nay, crazy, fair, Nimune, yes, I am ye do Garie, BPR, but in the Amikase, Ubianua, or Saint Shubi, and she I poto, I say.
Water treatment facilities be away in Sua air panel, teche brown, Abusia, and Koye.
This is just some few minutes walk away from the main Kwenyako water treatment plant, still in the same area.
And that type of insuno, NAS or Muklini, the man for send the qua man for fear no more than what you are near the.
At the end of the day, residents are asking until when will this water continue to be this thick brown? They are calling on leaders, they are calling on the government to ensure that this very area, that is the Kwenyako area, they have potable water here to use.
There are some people that talk about the fact that Omuntimi Fakura ensure matadi. Let alone somebody quiet you near di.
Yeah, and I say, and I so we are say Bibia, even though Yanum. But you see, the Moabim, too soon to see the end yet. Yes, Rabbi on Shamayang, no so no. More Munja was Galamsey for a most sense.
In some places, in Sobetimia, you use that type of insuna, and so there's some chemical big boom, and then it's Matiani, and son of Wetimia issue. And in most cases, those chemicals to some extent are dangerous.
Say, Infra, is it going to be clean? A very clean kakra.
Where you go along a gum before and Sana Makudare.
Oh, okay. It's as a boiling, no, the alum nigumna, color nini kakra.
After boiling the water, I
Nkontomre Kurano, Abusia. Yes, there's a contomere to mean how we say simply because assassin moon when say. Do Basha over the past 2 weeks, and as even a month, and Galamsey talk a Kasa.
The fight against illegal mining is one thing that needs a collective fight.
And Ranumra vigil for Galamsey fix the country for Anna Motokwa say a year ago, and President Anado Mkoye demo for Galamsey say, young face Galamsey issues or Ghana. Nana na ban chi a man for been for 2 weeks.
Today actually marks 1 year, 22nd of September, when members of the Democracy Hub got bungled like criminals and were sentenced to Insawam prison, and some were placed at various cells in Accra.
So run and 1 year, so that kind of 1 year anniversary, and then in Abusia plan is on bay demonstration and Kasa Ekurum. The Aqua the Jubilee House Aquachrom and Penny say, Galamsey no, a drew baby SEC are known now. The turnout for the demonstration, Abusia, it wasn't solid, I won't lie. A drew baby crowd and I say, Nibra Bay, so we do watch it. But even in Ranumre, time I know more, I think the Jubilee House and Nimu area, no mechanism. Mustafa Bandi Abusia and people and this from Penny Vuebi, but never more Becassa said. A bayer or Modi or Munya de Omonkwana, president of the country, Nicola Niganum. Or no, what travel call I can say, UN General Assembly, Ewo USA. In general, I think the debate, obey debate 3 days was the same. Through the Omonqua, now fade here, or Monshire, buying Sheshe. Na the country in penny for Meshia Lands Minister and penny for. Now be anti and young Kona very the best way to go about things.
I'm here to plead with you that if the purpose is served, please, with respect, can we call it off and allow ourselves to go and rest? The president have left for the UN General Assembly. Her Excellency the Vice President is fully in charge. She is a mother, as well as you are aware of what her department stands for. We will have leadership appropriately briefed and possibly invite your leadership to meet with the Lands and Natural Resources Minister.
Well, Nkofone born away.
Away! NDC leadership allow us to demonstrate in peace.
Did not demonstration, but the turnout again wasn't great. And Abusia and them put turnout in great, Almost a demonstration here for 3 days. Day 1 Punye, you ever share holding. But aside omo dear no, abusia nra na me hu video bi of Miracles Abuaje. Any one of NDC for Ghana in this guy always or cancer is me.
Yeah, we mukwane say. Ube so with TV and now ube so WhatsApp no go. Ube te every na me yawu.
Poliando abusia. Omo ko ba bia nsuo ni bi nye. Galamsey nsuo yi. And then they were talking about the fact says aban eye bibi fa ho so afa say nsem bebre.
Mahama. You see I will say amo abaso abetie. By a head nsuo ye ya. Oman penny ye bo abaso enye ye. Ye kobisa so a wo si enkofa evidence emra. Enne ye nyina ya bahasa hwede a ekosoi.
Me hwa ade ni din maybe we will do a separate video about that. Omo ye omo ho anoma kokone kone. Okwa tifi ko hunu nsuo. No aba na afọ we bi asa wan na hunu nsuo no. Similar thing and Miracles Abuaje and some of them people go for more ye. But we are not making a very different video about it. Now you deep dive into kind of the Galamsey issue.
The Estre Government Communications Minister and the region is say the man for ewu, the man for nyansuo ennom. What's your evidence? Evidence no yanko fa baby ya fa ono ani krom, ono ani nkrofo ne abefa evidence na iden. Amano.
Before see a better see how we got here no. I think President Kwame Nkrumah mpensu say mpanifo e ba after omuni bi. And a share mara Ghana. Adie bi abedua no Ghana asase su bia na yodea. But adie bi e sha asase na se no. E ya ban dia. So that is the reason why for Ghana obetimi adigi for gold and any natural mineral resources bia na. As a government here approve. As a government ma licenses ya obetimi dia kwakoye se adwuma no.
Only a Ghanaian who has gone through the lay-down due process and has been issued with a license by the Ghana Gold Board can legally engage in gold trading in Ghana.
That is the reason why Ntiakoko to Galamsey abushe betimi achew. Simply for the fact they say again, no me was asase so no betimi aye no peso ye bia but ne was asase no o man Ghana dia.
If you are not licensed by the Ghana Gold Board, you are committing a crime if you buy gold or you engage in any form of gold trading.
So to avoid going to prison, now betimi aye to gold na ye nche no. And yes okay say they are buying my license to do so. Into a license ni bia abusia oni obi any issue. Any institution e bo ahwe se obenya correct license a ubi bia better na kwan mu no. Bini Minerals Commission ni omo kika ho. Ye nyina ebedi adanse say president ya ba twam like JJ Rollins, a champion mo abusia omo nyina e ba no. Na Ghana ama vote Galamsey no but na nsuo no and say drew baby ase yedru. So let's look at the licenses na kakra because the license I am ma kwan ma utu no from 1988 which means time under President Jerry John Rawlings abusia no otiaban mu 1988 up to 2008. That means President Jerry John Rawlings, President Kufuor Penso. License omu issue yes am for betimi issue dia kwakwa dege and na so kwakwa small scale mining like whatever. License omu issue here was makumako 40. From 2009 to 2016, our President Johnny Vance Tamils Baye, our obedi one term, President Mahama so obedi one term no. License omu so mienu for the 8 years no issue here was 59. So 59 no kwaka 40 no ho a na just say legally no amount why am more license to dig for gold basically wo Ghana no abusia no mo 99. That is it. And then from 2017 and now the mobile ban mu up to 2025 we abusia mu free aban mu like January 7 2025 o mu free aban mu no. Now license your man give you out within their 8 years no. 2,151. From 1988 up to 2016, abusia 28 years. License on issue here through spanning from 4 presidents. Abusia it was 99. Within 8 years, and the NPP Nanadwa Mamum license on issue here was 2,151. And now from January 7th, 2025, our President Mahama signed ban the second term up to now America do video 22nd September. License on my issue, I am maku 0. Nothing. No license. So which means whatever fight they are fighting now, no, and as how they are trying to resolve the Galamsey issue, no, is basically from license Bebrea, NPP for and Dananado, the man for no mutu go in the account.
Arise, Ghana youth. The nation demands. Let us all unite to uphold her and make her great and strong.
Now, Abusha, we cannot attest to the fact that NPP time and no more blame who say, Nsasi baby say, you say, Nsu baby say. To me, it was worse, and the NPP, at least now do my buying than any other government be now bagan up to that point. But that is not to say NPP force one to try and fight the Galamsey. There be that. Omu institute two ministries. Omu institute two task forces. No more trial fighting Galamsey no on a day-to-day basis.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has set up a 5-member ad hoc ministerial committee to engage stakeholders to assess the government's efforts to deal with illegal mining activities, popularly known as Galamsey.
But in the long run, basically, how are they be a person mutimi achieve success in that field?
What we cannot do is to allow the mining to compromise the future of our country.
And it's a little obvious simply for the fact to say some abaimun penning for be are no more position within the government and their party, they were actively involved in Galamsey.
Community man in MPP for West Naya. Any MPP penny for my general say, ya dia to the Foko Gumuremua, Omobo by Mutuna Junior, and no, I seem to say a quiet Omunyai.
Until it's a say, okay, ne, the task force, this, I can say, concession site here. That by the time Ombedro, no more chatting that I said, ne, task force on a bounty free. They knew exactly when a task force for Neko. So by the time a task force ni beduro, no red no more free. And then the sites were so many, say they can kind of go to one site and stay there forever. Eventually they will leave, and then omukwa na Galamsey for number to man so. So it's like you were doing something, but at the same time you were doing nothing.
But to me, I have a legitimate lances they have signed for me. This is my lances. So he see everything through. Then he said, "Oh, this guy, you are too smart, because that tower was making about $1 million a day."
You for a bit is Aisha Huang. Aisha Huang was kind of a notorious gold Galamsey queen pin. No two Galamsey dealing Galamsey heavily. Ghana buying chino and Dananado are buying. Senior minister ba say yen deport in free country no na emma meye Ghana problem because Ghana ye jeli na be feeding in ye kan yen deport no ye deport no at the time it became a serious news Ghana ye deport Aisha Huang in less than 3 years. Aisha Huang was found in Ashanti region. Nipa ye deport from the country no, she was found in Ashanti region. So it's like fighting Galamsey no, but we are not even doing anything.
Aisha Huang slipped into the country through the Togo border, having changed her identity and returned to her Galamsey business in the Ashanti region.
A man for a position, not just within Abaimu, but within their party. Some of them were doing Galamsey and they were shielded by the government and they are Abaimu penny for. So, Ghana. During elections here, 2024 general elections, there are a man for within the party. I know I'm talking about the fact that a man for should stop talking about Galamsey. They are making the government unpopular.
The whole year, in so I a problem there. And you want mention na started. Obina opese anka omo ye nanka ye di speed. Nanka ya court nanka ya stop Galamsey for nanka ya lose your seat. Ya stop you omo na. Yes, stop you,
and it was an actual thing for them not to stop Galamsey. Baby, now man for only to Galamsey, and simply for the fact is so I'm going stop a man for only to Galamsey, and I'm said those areas near Galamsey community, they won't vote for them because of that. Almost see in Galamsey once some can. Now say, Omobe, ye be for 1 year, 2 abani we are. Now fed you Abusiama tackle Galamsey. That was the mindset of some of Abaimu penning for. And the NPP last 8 years.
Now I'm confirm with TV for na ko. Now I'm crowd for ka and a Galamsey. Now Galamsey yetunu Accra. In zone Accra. Amombra Kumasi made demonstration and come yesterday.
But the massive problem, at least in my opinion, they say The licenses or mu issue ma for some betim dia kwa to gold Galamsey no. And that's small scale mining, however you want to call it. No. It was way too many and than another in because for 28 years, the issue year was 99. Now so within 8 years, we issued more than 2,000. It's too much.
Okay, me and I'm the lances and a mamu. Someone ye. Ubi enyai. Every forest more. Now, community man in MPP for boys neye. Any MPP penny for my DJ lances say, ya dia to the foko gumuremua. Omo bo by mutuna na junior riano. And no, I seems you say a quiet, omunyai. And not an ekaya biding.
Because 99 a small number. At least you can follow up. Those baby ambassador licenses, baby you can go to them and check on them and see if they no mo yedi na da kwan na kwan so a 99 it won't be massive. You won't need that much manpower to kind of make sure say they are doing the mining no kind of in a way a be benefit Ghana and then say Ghana nsu ana na sase. But if you issue over 2,000 licenses you need more manpower to make sure say omu ye bibia na akwanso, and clearly we didn't have that manpower.
The fight against illegal mining is one thing that needs a collective fight.
And even if we did, by the time Madam Manpower never got that concession site, no red near to said no more bahontimunyani. And because of that, we saw land after land after land, river after river after river. Na sen sa. Who some of the videos are current lands commission lands minister. Or share some of the videos no one can say soon. That shows you how Ghana and say Ghana forest reserves and one man for being no. But be yes ye would go to Galamsey, people were there digging. What I say. And Omuria, they don't kind of make sure as I gets back to how a better function and as a man for being use. No, it's destroyed. And that is not a DB and a year and never Ghana. So all the time a man for be say a chill almost dealing Galamsey. China for nipa be me and na ye hu young boys e busu mo peka credit no na ya chi omo kan and then ya kwakwo jeli omo. But a man for at the top na esenke ye chi omo no nothing will be done to them. So they go about their own ways because obi say Aisha Huang ye deport to team ye team say hu no Ashanti region ha. Come on.
Aisha Huang slipped into the country through the Togo border, having changed her identity and returned to her Galamsey business in the Ashanti region.
So the enough of the NPP aban. Yen fast forward to President Mahama. President Mahama ebam no. Onim say okay, this is the problem we face Ghana at least when it comes to the field of Galamsey. But as any president, the new president biano before us no washishe bo bebre. So it's making sure say attention akwa all the boss na washishe so. And then mobile and that is exactly what they've been doing. What you say? Mobile one of the major things was kind of doom so and Ghana. Because NPP for be free abayimu na doom so abusu na Ghana. And then they made sure say NDC were kind of the doom so party basically during the time Mahama first term. So coming into the second term, persons are doom so be plaguing the government. So they put serious attention. They implemented new tax of $1 petrol also. Send a bill on betim they affect some of the issue when it comes to doom so. And people were not happy, but they did it because they no per se at least making sure that the doomsday wouldn't be a serious issue. Now the serious issue facing them, Galamsey. So and I'm saying the video near Galamsey no. You forget about any other stuff will be on my and you focus on the Galamsey. No man buying way buy or my year to make sure say the Galamsey menacing no. We see a from.
Stop Galamsey now. We need clean water. We are part of the working class, so. When it comes, we can't afford dispenser. Dispenser stuff will not be even assured. You are working class, so you need to fight against Galamsey. It will affect us first.
Number one, NSA Omu Institute 2 Gold Board. Basically, Omuna government na buy na more omu kwan. So meti mi ato trade gold in the eka ho. Ndini you find out the link gold in the eka ho bia wo de na illegal buying one na yes adwuma right now. And no ena sami jemfi da no. According to Sami Jemfi, was within the first 9 months, you are implementing gold board. Scare buying from some selling gold, or more exporting inquired $6.6 billion, almost $7 billion in 9 months. That is just crazy numbers.
They've been able to mop up such that between January and now, or the last record, which is about a month ago, $6 billion. Had been accrued from gold exports.
And no compare that same time to time NPP for and now the mobile by moi. Yes, this car within that their first 9 months from gold exports were somewhere around 3 point something billion dollars. So if the NDC are able to get kind of twice that amount, then that means that $3 billion of gold were exported or dealt in illegally. And, Ghana didn't benefit. So in this way, now Institute Gold Board, Ghana is basically benefiting from it.
Same time last year, it was barely half of the figure that I'm quoting. So it means that about $3 billion or so left the shores of this country unaccounted for. 2,
Omubaye, Omunya issue any license ubia so betim dia kwa degree for gold. There be that. 3, Yahweh Yusuni and Sasi are saying now. I was mostly it's done by excavators. And you nipansa no mde. Yet the excavator kese ni de kosi site ho na ye di two form na ye di sensu ni keka ho. So aban ne buy no more man is okay excavator be free port wa ba bia no. Say in the first place why this excavator ne ba country no. Oba be kire ni ode kwa akoye. So kwan na ode kwa akoye fine. Wo track record wo ya okay kwan we na me de ba be nti a me import the buy then they will give it to you. But so the ba small scale mining na there be ebusia na aban na season. And then even if that's all the best small scale mining now, or the tracker about all the excavators now, so they know exactly where each one is or will be.
We will track excavators, as the minister said, in order to know whether they are being used for illegal mining or not. And we intend to change the permitting regime. Ghana has more excavators in this country than in the whole of Africa.
And to top it off, Omasa even abanning the importation of excavators. So all these things they be abanning and sign.
We're going to change the permitting regime. You will not be allowed to import an excavator or put it on a ship unless you get a permit before you can ship an excavator.
Next one, Ghana, your forest reserves now mouthful binuma TSC binuma say no go area. But
we've successfully, as the minister told you, we have successfully cleared illegal miners out of 8 out of the 9 no-go zone forest reserves.
So yeah, at least in Chiremu of normal mobile metimia nubino. And say, yeah, and the NPP, penny Fuankasa net daily in illegal Galamsey no, Abuja they couldn't touch. NDC for bas so chama wuntu me ya holla ne house to Yoku and then ka ho. Menya Ghana need you. Not just him but other people also. So that shows that people that couldn't even be touched right now you touch it at your anyhow. Because they say they want me be president Menya Ghana need you. And according to President Mahama no chama wuntu me ya konta mines na busua they are going to bring charges against them heavily.
Additionally, charges have been drafted and are ready for filing in the case of Republic versus Wuntumi and Akunta mining.
Enye nenkwa NDC for mienu bia I think say me refer mu din. Yes you omo dealing in Galamsey omo concession sites. President Mahama say and down na aban mu no. You can do that. Right now they are being investigated to see their concession sites and back there's a me refer guy there. I don't want to mention any name I'm sure of, but I've done video about it. One guy there is kind of guilty, and this impending for Libya. And if that is the case, that shows that President Mahama is not just going after NPP for, but even people within the on one the party, how more powerful within the party. They are looking into them, and that is something personally I didn't see from the Nadon. So these are some of the things I buy way by in the fight of Galamsey. Alongside the Mati Task Force, we go after a man for a man for excavators. And then you can't come. You think excavator and because police station, they better excavators in Ira. They are actively doing things. A do baby, who's okay. Approach a equal on and ye and fat yam post. Now I'm finding a new way. Let's go ahead with that new ways. Plain crash a cocashi, and Bamum penny for woo ye. They were on the job by Bushano Mokaku make sure say at least. The Galamsey sense me and no mukakudi hujma. Sadly, helicopter and quatishri you win a free mono. So you can see say actively they are doing stuff, but still enough.
Working together with the small scale mining sector, we will reclaim our forest reserves.
During the time an NPP for Wabaymuno, I think it's 2024, there were calls from the NDC in penny for say President Nana Donen penny for and declare Ghana a state of emergency because of the Galamsey. Nani will be a Galamsey because baby I do not know ya thing. NDC for at the time cause omuno ba and omuna na wa ba mu ankoma yes ade no. But at the time NPP for declared that state of emergency no. And now NDC for ba mu. And now people are calling them so okay. Mo can say mu be saying samuna mu wa ba mu right now mu wa ba mu no man koyi. So why are you not declaring the state of emergency? Declare it now. This question, President Mahama Nankasa time we meet the press him say, one, because still now there are ways and means and stuff they can do to make sure that the Galamsey fights and ebusion betimi arene and they be drew baby and yet to say the now no. So they've not exhausted all the means betimi use. Now when it comes to the state of emergency now, to them no it's kind of the last resort. Bibia ya ye biamfa enye yenye sa na fe de yem ban mining for now. Na fe de you know at least ye make sure say betimi affect your country ni ye nsuo ni ye nsase ni ye ka ho. Before I say ye be yi sa state of emergency na everywhere ye everywhere.
I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency. We have the opportunity to arrest anybody, to confiscate any such thing. There are laws for forest protection and all that give us enough powers to be able to act. Implementing a state of emergency might sound nice, but it should be the last extreme, the last resort. So for now, let's exercise all the powers we have. And if it becomes necessary for a state of emergency, then we'll look at it. It means we have to go to Parliament. The president can't just declare a state of emergency without, going to Parliament because there's a limit to how long you can maintain that state of emergency.
But I saw one guy also, I know from NDC side, which him say the reason why I know more justification for sure I'm call on the NPP, yeah. Say omun declare state of emergency was the fact to say for the 8 years yeah, nanado mobile by muni it kept getting worse. So the later part of my President Nanado na mamu the 2024 no and almost yes I declare state of emergency because up to that point it was not sufficient or results and they were not getting it.
From 2017 all the way to 2023, getting into 2024, there was really no call for the declaration of a state of emergency. That call became rife at the tail end of the NPP's administration, and that was because in our analysis, after the 8-year period, all the other measures had failed. So the state of emergency under the circumstances became the point of the point of last resort, because over the 8 years the measures had failed, and therefore we said, okay, then let's declare a state of emergency.
But right now in the NDC there are things that are more implemented, there are things they are doing, and it is working for them. If it is working and they are getting results that they need for the state of emergency, even though they are necessary, but it's not even part of the conversation right now.
It is supposed to be an option of last resort. But as of now, the other options on the ground, the other interventions are working. That is why you don't go and declare a state of emergency when the other alternatives are working. So the timelines are important. It is not the case that we were calling for the declaration in 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, or even 23. It was in 2024 when in our analysis and diagnosis we acknowledged that, look, all the rafts of interventions are not working. So now go for the jugular, okay? Go for the main thing, declare a state of emergency. We now come into power in 6 months. Indeed. We have been able to recover, repossess the 9. Therefore, it makes the declaration momentarily moot.
So, Abusian, you will say that in your political talk is fine. But what are say? If there's a declared state of emergency, BBS easy. Na say ebetimi abo affect Ghana yensu yensa asentema. Why are we not doing it? If they be taking like 1 year, 2 years, and then to make sure that everything is working again, then why don't we do it? And this is where it gets tricky. So we say and I say Ghana primarily, baby ye income free. The exportation of commodities like gold. In this Ghana, you can say, okay, you declare state of emergency. For the 1 year, be a day, you will be on too good to Ghana being. Because yes, I say, make sure yes, we need to be a year. That means the profit of Ghana from gold, no, we are no more getting it. Exportation of gold, as a major emphasis, is estimated about almost $7 billion, no. In less than a year, we are not getting that money. So that means it will be difficult for president to run the government. Because Abekayata Mahama Muba Baimui, or Moye state of the country address was a state of the nation address. And then they said, President Anado Mufla Baimuni, Skabianiho. So that's the reason why they had to do things, Senebe Ombenyeska to run the country, and then do no man for the show, or Mosi or Mobo and Beya Boagana. So, they are waiting on them. To Amubai and check and Omu Institute to the gold board because they saw say if say gold in Napa it drop by one, then we can get money that way. And truly, if there's a to make over $6 billion from it, then clearly something, it's working. It's worth doing it. What do I say?
If you are not licensed by the Ghana Gold Board, you are committing a crime if you buy gold or you engage in any form of gold trading.
And also, if we are not getting that income from gold now, I was here now near quite many of us with my run government. Obi a business and a business-minded person be able who say shutting down a profit-making machine. I was here, no one will do that. So that is part of the problem. And again, when it comes to the gold board now buy 9 months in almost setting it up. Already now is making almost $7 billion. If someone declares state of emergency now, then that means they won't be trading in any gold. So then what is the point of the gold board? The profit and Ghana from gold, it will be zero and that's seriously reduced from that 6 billion figure.
Through their efforts, they've been able to mop up such that between January and now, or the last record, which was about a month ago, $6 billion had been accrued from gold exports.
So in as much as declaring the state of emergency can fix the problem, it's not that simple because if they shut it down, then there won't be any money coming to Ghana through gold and not from gold. And at that point, what are we doing? Where are we getting the money from to fix Ghana, to do things for Ghana? Then that will mean say a course and cocoa boros, and that is something I don't think that this government, that's part of the reason why our government, President Mahama, our pay investors, so may invest in Ghana with their millions and billions of dollars. Because if the sky from gold, and yet that's sufficient, and no soon be bresa, and I say gold to say yes when you assassin. Na say declare state of emergency, and I say Ghana will be any gold too. Na say affect Ghana, Ghana that much, then they can do it easily. So that is I think the reason why I'm pay investors to come and invest in Ghana. So that at least the profit we get from gold, and like the primary source. But scan Casablanca country, DADA. What do you say?
And the private sector will be that engine of growth. And so let us marry Japanese precision with Ghanaian potential and create a win-win situation for ourselves.
Well over 100 businesses drawn from Ghana and Japan.
So me take on this and then they say, presidents, they are not going to stop a mouthful from doing Galamsey or illegal mining. They will try their best. What they are trying to do is finding a right balance between, we will still continue to have the gold board, export gold, make money from gold, but also try and stop a mouthful from doing illegal Galamsey, a best saying sasi. Because that middle ground, others say so more pay. And that is proving a little difficult to do. But again, it all goes back to say, if the license is a mouthful a day take, say, and no soon be bresa. I don't think saying this will be a serious issue as it is now. And I don't know if they can revoke some of these licenses so then they should do so. But if they can still have their gold board, export the gold get it from small scale mining, and still make sure as a Ghana and Suonina obi no one issue, then that is a win-win. Because then that means a man for one person going to small scale mining, they can still go ahead and do so. The government and one of their initiatives from the Abami referee and say, the amount for a baby call Australia. I'm on my question how small scale mining legally and saying so. So all these things are initiatives that government at least I'm not trying to put forward.
As I speak, we are organizing a trip for the Small Scale Miners Association to Australia. Australia has given us an invitation to bring them to come and see how small scale mining is done without destroying the environment.
And personally, I believe that President Mahama, he wants to build a legacy. He wants to be remembered among for a Babetna Ghana Kunyakasi and so omutimi ye bibi. And because of that, in my opinion, he will try his possible best to fix the Galamsey issue. Send you fix it, doom so answer no free abemu. Or buy no doom so or but still no buy no try to fix it. So right now the biggest problem I face Ghana, one of them at least Galamsey. So if so bet me fix the Galamsey issue whereby we can still have our gold, export our gold, the amount for us from going to small scale money, they can go through it legally. And also then I think that if he can even do just that, the legacy will be solidified.
So we need to train these small-scale miners. The gold is a blessing that God gave us.
Because Ghana, when it comes to Galamsey, very few people there. You can't get a percentage of people here Galamsey no 1%. But 1% now they are affected so many people, about 80%. Because Ghana has seen so many people. Ghana Water Company, and as I say, chemicals or mudi gum tin so any sene baya ebedru fie na nye gon enya ateche no enya chemicals ketwa and those chemicals no abusia even those obeba behu so ni say ni ye clear normal go through ni nya de ketwa. So you can see that there even say 1% of the people here no affect over 80% of people Ghana, and that is a it needs to be stopped. And I do believe that if President Mahama and Abba penny for if they can fix this Galamsey issue going into next 4 years election, still people will vote for them. It's that simple. Because if a president can fix issues and man for the war and still listen to them, they can win. So all put together, that is the reason why Galamsey a free baby away, Bedru baby away now. Can they fix it? Mami who are doing a comment section as well. I don't say this conversation, baby, nani bet me a but even the short explanation of how long this video is, so it's one of those things. So the protest, I support them, but at least, Mami who are doing a comment section as well. Tap send, the numero uno mobile app. Abusia bet me send this car command for Ghana. So Italy, Germany, Europe, USA, even Dubai. Now person send this card the brand of Ghana. App where so you to tap send. Apple App Store and Google Play Store na download right now for 2 phones. Because how they send this card command of BR. Yanti we levy untiashe exchange rate is fast, it's secure, it's all the good things and mouth trouble. Almost security a top notch. And I first time I download the app now use the send this car. Ubo code Magraheb Shema. Depending on baby I want, you better see a chowska. I'm at the ska was sending on. Dear Bujas only starting use to tap sender. May conform our neck. If you know more mobile wallet, I was your bet me load do no with ska. It's a time so I will send this kind of commando for Ghana. Now nothing I be connected to bank. Dabi. Or tap wallet the fast na is what send the call. Tap send the abusia mean to me conform enough. This is when you tap send the Apple App Store and Google Play Store and downloading right now.
Tap send. Papa no.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for videos like this every day. Till we meet again, abusia. Adios.